You're welcome back to Breakfast Centre. It's now time for us to look at the newspaper headlines. And joining us to analyse the front pages of the newspapers is the head of research and monitoring at News Central, Mr. Abdulateef Ahmed. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy research. I can see your hand is hard working this morning. You've been doing research.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. And it's great to have you here. So let's get straight into it. The Punch newspaper, the headline there says, New Peng Dangote clash as tanker drivers deal collapses. What's really going on here? Didn't we hear the other day that they reached an agreement and now I guess like they say, the devil is in the detail. The writer says, Dangote refinery says union membership not compulsory as New Peng ponders fresh strike. Marketers adhere to MOU NLC warns refinery against agreement breach. 5.6 trillion naira debt. Energy crisis looms as gas firms halt supply. Court summons mark others over ADC leadership tussle. A political party that just started, that was just registered on INEC. They're already fighting.
Yeah.
They're already involved in courts. We'll get there very soon. Supporters await Fubara's London return ahead of resumption. You know, he's gone to London to clear his head and is about to make a triumphant entry back to Port Harcourt, a Jerusalem-like entry next week. So we'll see how that goes. And Jonathan Obi hold closed-door meetings. Interesting news there. INEC shortlist 14 new party applicants. Disqualifies 157. Wow.
Well, the numbers keep rising. So there's a lot that we're unpacking, but let's start from the last one, which is about Fubara returning from London. Why is it that London seems to be the place where all of these political players, prefer to vacation at, stay, and then return like they've gone to discover some, some wise nuggets to share or to
What is it about London?
What is it about London?
Sage that lives in London.
So they get inspired from.
Sage.
Okay, then in any case, we are hoping that his return will bring some tranquility in the state. It seems relatively peaceful at the moment, but nobody knows if it's the peace of the graveyard until he comes in and other political players.
Do you think supporters will celebrate him when he returns?
It's natural. Most times, politicians have a way of galvanizing the system.
Or do you think they're disappointed at his
capitulation?
Capitulation.
Yes.
Well, you cannot.
I mean, he left as a lion. Now he's coming back maybe as a pussycat.
It depends, So sometimes it's better for you to retain your position as a governor.
He was saying "rah."
Now it's coming back.
Meow.
So it depends on what he's intending to do. For him to have agreed to certain terms and conditions with his political godfather, there's a chance that he thinks of himself to say, I have 2 more years to.
Does he not mean that his hands are tied?
Well, for me, I think he made some political miscalculations. Sometimes before you strike, it will mean that you have the people behind you.
And having reviewed his cards and shown his temperament, these estranged political godfathers will now know the kind of person he is.
He is.
I will not want to repeat the same mistake. But absolutely. I guess, we don't have crystal balls in front of us. We'll get to see what happens. Now, New Peng Dangote clash as tanker drivers deal collapses. Dangote refinery says membership not compulsory. And then the marketers they're also, New Peng is also pondering fresh strike. So, how is that our business as regular Nigerians? Why do we have to suffer? Why are they threatening to pull the plug on fuel supply across the country because of their dealings with a private business? Yeah,
so the issue with New Peng is it's a union, a union that seems to put some pressure on the players in the system. What it is insisting on is that those who work with Dangote should belong to them. And Dangote is saying it is optional. It should be a thing of choice. You cannot make it forceful for people to do that. And by the way, New Peng, collect certain charges, from tanker owners.
Membership fees. Yeah.
And then Dangote's argument is that some of its staff belong to another, association. So if you say that they are not allowed to join unions, it's not entirely true. It's just that there are several unions that they could belong to, and so they're trying to do what they can to ensure that the frustration gets to all Nigerians, which should ordinarily not be. We've enjoyed some level of stable petrol supply in the past few months. It should not be that we scuttle that and then at the caprices of union members.
That's right. Anyway, let's look at this other story very quickly. Jonathan Obi hold closed-door meetings. It sparked a lot of conversations online everywhere. And I don't know if I have the pictures as well.
Yeah.
Their footage, their pictures that are circulating online, which shows the former president and the former presidential candidate shaking hands and all smiles. Better still, going into that closed-door meeting, sending shivers down the spine of some very interested political party members.
Yeah,
what do you make of this meeting of political gladiators?
It's fine. I mean, it's their thing. They will always meet, be it publicly or behind closed doors. But it is interesting that this meeting is holding because we are just about 16 months to the next election.
That means we've cancelled 2025.
I mean, 2026 is just 12 months, and then we have a few months to end this year. And once you get to January, you're talking about elections. So we have a few months.
Campaigns begin in 2026.
Yeah. But of course, they've started showing their hands.
And INEC is one in them.
Yeah.
Now, as a research analyst with over a decade of experience, one of the best in the industry.
Thank you.
Can you help us use research to find out what they might have been talking about behind closed doors? Is it related to politics or because the background, the picture we saw was the Good Luck Jonathan Foundation. So maybe they're talking about plans of how to improve the work and expand the work of the former president's foundation, and not necessarily politics.
Yeah, so that is it. So most times when political gladiators meet, the assumption is always that, okay, the conversation is around politics. You get something they could have done via, phone calls and all that. But sometimes it sends certain signals of alignment or realliances. For Goodluck Jonathan, he's been basically an elder statesman, not really aligning with any of the political parties.
As other heads of states have done.
So we can't tell really what they were discussing or what's on the table or what the cards are, but we can assume that it is something for the betterment of the Nigerian people.
Then, the second leg of my question, do you think former President Goodluck Jonathan, because a lot of people have been putting his name out there that he will be a joker for the PDP if he throws in his heart into the presidential race. Do you think, and would you advise him to contest?
I will not advise him to contest, considering how fractured PDP is at the moment. When he lost the election in 2015, PDP was still a little more robust than what it is now. At the moment, it is fractured. His home base is not intact. Only 2 states in the south-south are PDP states. So I don't really see how he's going to be able to align the right forces and then have sufficient muscle.
But his popularity, people look back at his time in government now, given the luxury of hindsight, and say, wow, things were much better then.
You don't win an election merely on the grounds of popularity. You need structures. You need systems. You need people who will deliver. You need people who will make promises and deliver on their promises. And don't forget that some days ago he did mention that he had a lot of people betraying him. So you can't tell what is he going to offer at the moment for which political gladiators will not betray him.
Anyway, let's move on to another paper very quickly. Let's go to the Tribune. The Tribune there, the front page says, fresh crisis hits Nupeng, Dangote MOU. Union accuses refinery of violating agreement and so on and so forth.
How many days agreement?
We've taken that already. Let's see another one. 2027, political parties may rise to 32 as INEC considers 14 for registration. CBN unveils Vision 2028 to promote inclusive payment ecosystem. Also, pretty much nothing more from the front page. And then again, 2027 suspense as Jonathan Obi meet in Abuja. This is like saying...
it's giving Nollywood vibes. You just need to put in that soundtrack.
The issue with political parties, sometimes you want to really understand why we have political parties springing up every now and then. When you have existing political parties that have no clear-cut agenda, no clear-cut manifesto, you can't even differentiate them from
I wonder if they won't even run out of acronyms and names. APC, ABC,
ADC, and all
I mean,
that.
Ada's also been registered. Ada is part of one of the parties that was registered, and remember Ada was the political force or car rather than political. Let me use the word vehicle that the ADC wanted to use before initially, and then they said, okay, you know what, let's get it registered appropriately, and then they moved to the ADC, and it seems victory for them because INEC has recognized the right people. So what happens to the others who shot videos and said, I am the real chairman of this political party?
Or how about SDP, for example?
I think we should bring them back on air. Let them come and explain.
Definitely.
Now, let's take a look at, in the short time we have, the Guardian newspaper. There's a very serious headline there that is shocking. And for the Guardian editorial team to use this as their headline, means it's of very serious importance.
Okay, let's look at it.
Open defecation crisis worsens. Versus 2030 sanitation target. And then the statistics. I don't want to believe this. Only 9% of households have access to basic sanitation service.
Yeah, this is...
Delta, Lagos, others struggle with enforcement awareness. 48 million still without toilets as cholera, diarrhea, kill over 100,000 children yearly. These are very avoidable diseases. And North Central leads in prevalence, followed by Southwest. Why? And I'm sure to you, gentlemen, because you're residents of Lagos, you see every day somebody must be doing something. Their business. And it's disgusting. I don't even know if these people don't have any level of self-dignity. Some of them even do it while facing the road.
See, there was this time, one of our reporters was, passing through the Third Mainland Bridge, and I think there were 3 or 4 persons were doing their business in the open. You know how disgusting it is for you to have your child in the vehicle seeing an unsightly thing like that? So the problem with Nigeria, the problem with Nigeria is that a lot of Nigerians have disrespect for the environment. They assume that the environment is just one, that place where there's no connection between you and the environment. Meanwhile, the environment is an extension of us. If you disrespect the environment by not channeling your water correctly, when rain comes, it returns everything you've thrown into the environment back into your rooms. I was saying it. It empties, graveyards into your rooms. Whatever it is you have done to the environment, it returns to you, your veranda, your rooms, your roads. So imagine you being stuck in a road, that has half of it is just, excrements emptying back into the street. So open defecation is a problem because we have not, made it something we penalize when you get people doing this. Are there
options? And in fairness to these people, they say it's called answering the call of nature. Nature can call you at any time.
Yes, but why have you observed? Yeah, but have you observed that even in Lagos, one of the most populated states, or about the most populated state in Nigeria, it's difficult for you to get places where you public toilets. Decent public toilets.
The public toilet tour is an eyesore.
So, but there has to be decent public toilets.
That you might catch a disease if you
by using.
So there's a lot of
the availability of it.
Yeah, there's a lot, and then before it used to be 50 naira. Now here it's 250. So you calculate.
And shout out to fast food restaurants that have been doubling as public toilets.
Exactly.
A lot of people, banks.
Or banks, yeah.
Some of them now they no longer pay attention to. They remove the tissue. They remove the water. So you enter the money. They have a monitoring spirit.
You have to buy something. Or you have to buy.
But we have to do better.
Pie.
We have to do better because the more you have all of these things happening.
This guy is speaking from experience.
The more you have these things happening, it affects the health ecosystem. People
absolutely
get unnecessary.
But former governor of Lagos State did enforce this at some point. I mean, there was a jail penalty.
Yeah.
For public defecation and smoking in public. I wonder what happened to that.
That's the problem with Nigeria. I think we have so many laws. Implementation
is the
has always been challenged. Let's look at another story.
We should have model public toilets, please.
Definitely.
Proper ones. Not the types.
That's why local government should be put to task.
Yes, that's where the local government.
Yeah, I agree. I like the graphic narration on the front page of the Guardian, Benga, on this topic we're just having now. Only 9% of households have access to basic sanitation services. Delta, Lagos, others struggle with enforcement awareness. And then you have others too. North Central leads in prevalence, followed by Southwest. And you will see them in public, just answering the call in the full glare of every single individual that's passing by, telling you if you like it or not, take it. This is what we have to do. Mr. Abdulateef, let's take our final story. Appeal Court orders Chief Registrar to confiscate crude on board. Okay, that's a crude story. Implementation of 2025 budget begins in September, says federal government. INEC rejects 157 applications, clears ADA, 13 orders for registration. Banks, FMCG customers top FCCPC's 9,091 complaints, 10 billion naira recovery.
We spoke about that earlier.
Spoke about that.
So
I mean, banks and FMCG.
Not surprised that banks are there.
Yeah, banks are there too, I agree. But,
all
but I tell those who stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's today for you.
Nigerians have always complained about being overtaxed. But let's something positive pops up.
Yeah, and in terms of consumer protection, it's one thing to name the banks. What is the penalty for the infractions? Are there compensation mechanisms for Nigerians that are getting subpar services? And I'm surprised the airlines, and there's one airline that is very notorious for not keeping to flight schedule time
And all that.
and all of that. So beyond, I'm sure it's part of the mandate of the FC.
There has to be penalties. There has to be penalties.
So we don't have repeat offenders. Yeah,
absolutely.
Once a company starts spending money as a result of handling these issues of frequent complaints, and then you have to ensure that your team would sit up, or better still, the company itself will have it in their management meeting that, listen, should we lose XYZ amount again going forward, a lot will happen. But because there are no consequences to these actions, that's why a lot is happening. Let's anchor every single thing here on the front page of the newspapers. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdulateef, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
This is where we draw the curtains and tell you thank you. And to all those who, sorry, we couldn't pick our calls today. Hopefully on Monday, we look forward to having you join us when we take a look at the front pages of the newspapers.
And Abdulateef, as you go back to your office and do more research, I would also like to know the kind of food that they ate behind closed doors. Good Lord, Jonathan and Peter Obi.
Jonathan.
As a strong researcher, you should be able to...
I'll have to speak with their media aides.
Before Abdulateef leaves, I also want to ask, do you think Peter Obi is likely opened to being a vice?
Yeah, so he shouldn't rule out the possibility.
But he said he's going for president.
So that is what every politician says.
Don't even want to.
Even Amechi at the moment said he's going to contest for the position. So until they lose at some point, before they begin to say, you know what, let me cut my losses and just stay here. So the most important thing for most of them is to say seize power from, the ruling
I guess
party.
we'll wait and see how things pan out. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me.